What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Residual Earners Podcast. I'm happy to have my dad again, Presley Swaggerty, here with us. We are excited to bring you a new episode on mindset, skill, and game plan. And let's get this thing rocking. Happy to have you, Presley.
It's good to be here, Jordan. I look forward to this every time we do it. And we've got some great info today. We're going to add value to people's lives.
That is our goal every week, to add value. Like we've said before, the podcast drops every Friday. We are on the schedule. We are in the studio. We are bringing you nuggets and tidbits of how to grow your business, what you can do, how to do it with one of the best to do it, Presley. As you said, I'm just excited to be here. I'm excited to get this thing going. Again, the traction's been great, seeing the numbers, seeing people watching, subscribing. It's been really cool to get this off the ground and moving.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm going to throw this out there, guys. I want you to understand that I'm going to talk about my books because I think they could help you, but I want you to understand that I donate anything I make off the books to charity. So this is not a, hey, Presley's trying to line his pockets kind of deal. I want you to understand that I've got two books out there. One is a network marketing book. It's called Millionaire by Halftime, How to Win with Network Marketing. That is everything I know just about network marketing. So I recommend that one. And then I've got a personal growth book because I think personal growth is what's got me where I am in life. So it's called Be, Do, and Have More. Both of those can be found on my website, PresleySwaggerty.com. And I'll say it again, anything that I make off books is donated to charity, guys. I'm not here trying to make money off book sales.
That's a great way for anyone listening to get out there to learn, self-improvement, also the network marketing business. And then obviously it's going to a great cause. So, there's a lot of upside to getting these books and just learning.
Absolutely. And, before we start, I had a good time yesterday. Your son, my grandson, had a hockey game.
Definitely. Yeah. We've been on a little bit of a tear the second half of the season. He's playing really well, got another couple goals. I think we won 6-4 yesterday against a tough team. And it's fun watching him get out there and compete and learn the game and do stuff the right way. And he's pretty darn good.
It was fun watching. And by the way, guys, he's 6 playing on an 8 and under, in an 8 and under league. In other words, he's a couple of years younger than just about everybody out there. And he's doing quite well, had 2 of our 6 goals. So
definitely,
I'm a proud granddad.
It's fun watching him just get out there and grow as a little human being.
Yeah, and I think you played a little golf, didn't you, since we did this last?
Played golf, played some hockey myself, had a couple games this weekend. So, always out there doing something. But what have you been up to?
I'd been a little under the weather our last podcast, and I've just been recuperating, just kind of enjoying being around the house. I did that Northeast trip where I went up to Harrisburg, and then we were at Princeton, New Jersey, and then back to Philadelphia, and then I came home. So I've just kind of been recovering from that trip. Had a great trip, by the way. Lots of good stuff going
Definitely.
on.
Do you have anything in the area here in Dallas?
We'll be in Dallas. We do a meeting every Tuesday night at the Marriott by Courtyard there at George Bush and Central Expressway. It's right there, and we're there at 7:00. If anybody wants to come out and visit, we'd love to talk to you, visit with you, get to know you a little bit. But again, Tuesday nights, 7:00 p.m., and it's at the Marriott Courtyard at George Bush and 75.
Definitely. No, that's good stuff to get people kind of connected, and you can introduce yourself to Presley and kind of get to know us from the Residual Earners Podcast here. And we're always looking to meet new people and introduce ourselves.
Amen. Some of my most fun in life is just being out meeting people. I enjoy getting to know people, and I really enjoy helping people. And it's so much more than money. I've been blessed to make quite a bit of money, but I tell people in this profession, you're going to grow as a person, you're going to help people, and you're going to make a lot of friends. And it's true. That's really the truth.
It's a rewarding business in many different aspects.
Amen.
And that's something you don't get everywhere else. But being able to get out, meet new people. I know both of us, some of our best friends are in the business, and it's really cool to not only get to meet new people, but to work with some of your best friends. And it's, it doesn't feel like a job.
Not at all. No, I've been blessed. I spent 16 years as a high school basketball coach. I never felt like I went to work when I was coaching. I mean, I loved it. It was my passion. And then since I've got into the network marketing profession, I love being on Zooms. I love going to meetings. I love making the calls because I love people. So I have been blessed in that regard, in that I have never felt like I was going to work.
Definitely. Definitely. Well, let's get into the meat and potatoes here. Give your thoughts on the topic today and where we're heading. Kind of give people the outlook of what they're about to hear.
Well, I think the most important thing as far as success goes in the networking profession, and that is mindset. But I think that applies to any business you get in. I think your mindset is what gets you there. And for me, I had to really change my mindset. I grew up in the ghettos, literally, guys, and then I coached for 16 years on the high school level, never made much money. I had to have a change of mindset to start believing that I could do better than that. When all your friends and family are broke, it just tends to stick in your mind that maybe that's the way you're supposed to be. But the neat thing about life, and especially here in the U.S., is that we can't go back and make a new beginning, but we can start now and make a new ending. And
Definitely.
that's what I'm going to really focus on today is mindset. And I've got 4 points under mindset, guys, and we've got mindset, we got skills, and we got game plan. I think we'll have time for mindset and skills. We may have to do the game plan on another episode, but we'll see how far we get. Mindset, number one, I've got is the buck stops here. In other words, this is about you. It's important to understand that we got to quit making excuses. We've got to make a decision that we're responsible for my life. I mean, I think it's key that responsibility is everything. I think in today's society, we try to pass the buck to other people,
Yeah.
to other things. Well, I was born on the wrong side of the tracks. I was born poor. I don't have a dad. I don't. Well, all those apply to me. I was born on the wrong side of the tracks. I was poor. I didn't have a dad in my life. I mean, but we can either use those as excuses or we can use them to get better. I always say you can either get bitter or you can get better. And I used them to get better. I knew that I was better than all that situation that I grew up in. And I think for all of us that if we'll start getting our mind right, it will make such a difference in our lives. Real quick before I get into it, as far as networking goes, give me a little bit about mindset and sports because, obviously you played at Arizona State and then you played for the Cardinals. Talk a little bit about mindset.
Mindset, the brain is one of the most powerful things, it's in our bodies, but with a positive mindset, I think of momentum in sports when you feel like you can't miss. Whether you're, for me, in pro ball, I was a pitcher, but growing up, I hit and everything. And you hear people say, "Well, the ball must look like a beach ball right now." Well, you have the mindset that you're going to be successful. You're confident in what you're doing, and you get further. You do better just because of your mindset. And then when days go and you're not feeling it and your mindset's a little down, it doesn't look like a beach ball. It looks like a golf ball. It gets much harder. Whenever we set our minds and say, "Hey, I can do this. I'm confident in what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing." It really does change the end line and how far you can get, because a negative mindset doesn't get you very far at all.
No, Zig Ziglar used to say that a positive mindset won't get you everything in life, but it'll get you everything better in life than
Yeah.
a negative mindset. And I think that's key. All right, let's make a decision, guys. That it's our responsibility. Doesn't matter where we're from. Doesn't matter which side of the tracks, or poor or rich or anything else. Let's make a decision that the buck stops with us. That's got to be the overriding factor, is that we got to quit making excuses. You can make money or you can make excuses, but you can't make both. And it's time we quit making excuses. So I'm going to challenge everybody right now to just say, I made my last excuse yesterday,
Yep.
and just make that a thought in your mind that I'm through making excuses. Now, understand there's going to be good days and bad days. Don't think there's not. But we've always got to just keep attacking. We've just got to keep moving forward, inch by inch. It's a cinch, and that is so true. The other thing, number two on my list for mindset, is we've got to get rid of that employee mentality. I worked in the school district for 16 years, and boy, I live for Friday. Boy, Wednesday's hump day. Let me get out of here where I don't have to think about work. The difference between an entrepreneur and an employee is employees are trying to get out of work. They're trying to get it off their mind. They're trying to just get away from
Yeah.
it.
Well,
With an entrepreneur, you're always trying to think of better ways to do things. I mean, again, I have not gone to a meeting or anything else where I felt like I was going to work. I'm excited to get there. I'm there to help people. I have a purpose. I think if you're an entrepreneur, you have a purpose and you're trying to create something that helps people. And it is so different than an employee mindset. And we've got to get out of that employee mindset.
definitely. It's people that once they leave the office, don't bug me, don't call me. That's not how we want to be. In networking, it's your business. You can grow it as much or as little as you want to. Don't think like an employee. And I know this is a bit off subject, but could you please tell the chicken fried steak, the Friday lunch story, sifting through the coin tray when you realize, I think it's a powerful story because I think that was whenever you said, "Hey, I got to make a change," and this is what led you to ultimately getting into this business.
Well, this was the day that changed my life, and I remember it vividly. I'm the head basketball coach at Lakeview High School. I had lunch duty, is what they called it. In other words, I would make sure all the kids were doing what they're supposed to do during lunch. So Coach Swaggerty's on lunch duty. I was standing in the commons area. It was a big open area between the gym and the auditorium, and just watching over the kids. And the bell dings, and it's time for me to have my lunch. So you could eat in our cafeteria there at Lakeview for about $2. Yeah, I said that, $2. Probably more now because that's been a while back, but you could eat there for about $2. So it is Wednesday, and Wednesday was a special day in my life. It was chicken fried steak day, mashed potatoes, gravy, and they even had buttermilk pie for dessert. I couldn't wait for Wednesday. So the bell rings. I pull my wallet out, and I'm looking in my wallet, guys. I'm a head coach at a big 5A high school, won a few district championships. I've got a bachelor's degree, a master's degree, and I don't have $2 in my wallet. Well, it is chicken fried steak day. I'm not going to miss that day. So I think, what can I do? And I remembered I had some change in the truck. So I ran out to the parking lot to my truck, and it was an 84 Mazda B2000. It was beat the heck up, had high miles. And for the young folks watching the podcast, you won't even know what I'm doing, but I actually had to stick the key in the door and unlock it. And I lay across the street and I pull the ashtray out, and I'm digging change out of my ashtray. I had a little bit of pride. I wasn't getting pennies. It had to be silver. So I'm getting nickels, dimes, and quarters. And I scratch out till I think I've got $2. And I push the ashtray in. I close the door. I lock it. And I'm standing outside the car at Lakeview Centennial High School in the parking lot looking at some dirty change in my hand so I could go eat a lunch. I wish that would have been the only time in my life I'd ever done that, but it hadn't. I dug change out several times. But for whatever reason, folks, this time something hit me like a ton of bricks that I don't want to spend the rest of my life digging dirty change out of an ashtray to eat a flipping $2 lunch. I didn't know what I was going to do at that point in time. I'm standing in the middle of a parking lot. I didn't have, some business in my mind. I wasn't at an opportunity meeting. I'm standing in a parking lot, but I knew at that moment that something was going to change in my life. And in my mind, at that point in time, I started looking for what it was going to be. Now, at that point in time, not knowing it was going to be networking at all, had
Yeah.
no idea it would be that. But I still remember that $2 of dirty change. By the way, I went in and had my chicken fried steak that day and enjoyed it. But I made a decision right then and there that I wasn't going to do that again.
Yeah, I remember the Mazda B2000. I rode a lot of miles in the Mazda B2000 stick shift,
Yeah,
single seat.
5 speed. You didn't even have a place to put a bag. You had to throw it in the bed. It was pretty ugly.
But I think that goes to show just changing the mindset, and that is, maybe one of your lowest points, and then that just turned the mind to say, "Hey, I'm going a different direction than where I've been," and then it's amazing, where you've gone from there.
Well, I firmly believe that it takes a decision on our part if we want to change our lives.
Yeah,
You've got to make a decision. I don't think you can play with a big life change and get it done. I think you got to say, "I'm doing this. Come heck or high water, I'm making it happen." And when you make that decision, I really believe that when you make a full-fledged decision, you jump in the deep end, that great and mighty forces come to your aid, which
definitely.
obviously is the good Lord. But I believe you have to make that decision. I really believe you have to jump all in to make that happen. And if you will, you'll surprise yourself with what you can accomplish.
Definitely. Two things real quick. I think that flows into our next one and we'll get there in a second. But, we just made that video before the podcast of you can't be halfway in. You've got to be all the way in. And that's jumping into the deep end and that's doing it. And which leads us into our next point, which is passion and focus. You got to be passionate and you got to be focused. And if you jump in the deep end and say, I'm doing this, and you set your mind to it, you've got the passion, you got the focus, and it's amazing what you'll be able to accomplish.
Yeah. Can you make a little money, maybe even mediocre money, without passion and focus? Yeah, probably. I mean, you can make a little bit for sure. Might even make a kind of a mid-size amount. But if you're wanting to be one of the top money earners with your company, it's going to take you focusing. It's going to take you having passion about
Yeah.
what you're doing, almost to the point of obsession. I don't think anybody's done anything amazing in this world that we talk about in history that they weren't focused on what they were doing. They weren't passionate about what they're doing. I think that is such a key for us guys, that the mindset has got to be that this is a big deal. If it's not a big deal to you, you're not going to put in the work. You're not going to stay focused. You're not going to do any of that stuff. So I think it is key for us that if we want to do something big in life, we got to get passionate about it. And I think that is just my gosh, it's a building block to success.
Definitely. I watch a guy on YouTube, Andy Elliott, who is he came up through the ranks of being a salesman in the car business, and now he's created a big business of motivating people and getting people where they want to go. But whenever it comes to something I watched the other day that I really like that he talked about is he's 18, he's got no money, he's getting into the car business, and he grew this to where he's making $500,000 a year the second year. And he said, it's what Kobe Bryant did. It's waking up early, it's perfecting the craft and putting in all the extra work while people are sleeping, doing whatever it is. You said obsession. Kobe Bryant was obsessed with his craft. It's I've watched something with him saying, I'm up at 3 a.m. for a workout at 4, and then I come home, I eat, I'm back in the gym at 9 o'clock, and then at 12 o'clock and 4 o'clock. You may get 1 or 2 workouts in. I got 4. Well, over years of period, think about how much more ground I made up. And, Andy's real big on if I'm going to do it, I'm going to be the best at it. I'm going to learn it and I am going to perfect what I'm doing. And you got to have the passion and focus to do that. And then obviously point number 4 for us is hard work. It takes hard work to get there. There's no way around it. This nothing that we're doing is a get rich quick kind of business. It takes hard work.
Amen. And before I get into networking hard work, tell me a little bit about hard work getting to be a Division I athlete and then on to the pros.
It was kind of what I just said with Kobe Bryant. You're up early, especially in college. You're up, and in high school as well. You're up early. You're getting workouts in before class, which class started at 8. You're taking you're getting to your classes. 8 to 12 was always the block we had allotted for class. Run and grab lunch on the walk to the field. Stop somewhere, get some lunch, go to the field. You're on the field by 2 o'clock. From 2 to 6, 2 to 7, you're on the field practicing, and then you had study hall at night. After practice for an hour to 2 hours, you had study hall, and then it's sleep and repeat. It's hard work. Nothing about it was easy. Luckily, you're with 30 of your best buddies doing it every day, so it was so much fun and the best years of my life. But it's hard work. There's no way around it.
No. And how many times did I come in and we'd grab a bucket of balls and head to the batting cage?
Yeah, when I was growing up, that's every day, which is it's kind of ironic now, when you're doing it with Grayson and it's a little bit different being hockey, but we spend so many hours a week at the rink. As a kid, I spent so many hours a week at the batting cage. And Presley has some scars to show it for me hitting him in the head on a ricochet once, but it's hard work every single day.
Absolutely. Yeah, I was soft tossing to Jordan, and the cage we were in wasn't the best cage. I mean,
it was the worst cage.
It was not a real good
cage.
They had steel posts up, and the net was not far enough on the inside.
So to give a little
cushion.
bit of a picture of this batting cage, it's a tunnel. But at the local high schools, when they didn't want people in, they basically built a chain link box around it with post, obviously. But the net sits 4 inches off of these steel posts. So I mean, it really was a what do you call it? A ping pong
Yeah, ping
effect.
pong, pinball,
A
something.
pinball
Yeah,
effect is what I'm going for of that cage.
yeah. Well, Jordan is hitting, and I mean, he hits one, and it hit that post. Now I'm behind the screen, but it hits a post to the side, and I mean, it was perfect, and it put lace marks right across my forehead, right in the middle. And Jordan starts laughing, and at that moment, I was not a happy camper. I was telling him in no uncertain terms he better wipe that grin off his face because I was hurting. I mean, it literally knocked me off that bucket I was sitting on.
Well, a few pitches before, I said, "Man, you better watch out. You're going to take one off the head."
Yeah.
I'm
I,
not just mean and laugh at him when he's hurt.
well, I think he was good enough that he did it on purpose. But anyway, nobody will know. I don't know how we got into that. But anyway, let's finish up mindset. Okay, one was the buck stops here. We've got to make a decision that we're going to make it happen in our lives. Number two, think like an entrepreneur, not an employee. You got to understand, guys, that you can't get out of work. You got to be thinking about it. It's your business. It's your future. It's your life. It's your chance to do something special with your life. You got to look at it like with number three, and that's with passion. You got to be passionate about it because you're going to figure out when you're talking to people, when you're inviting people, when you're showing a presentation to people, whatever it is, if you'll do it with passion, it's more about how you say it than what you say by far. So passion and focus is a big deal. And then the fourth one, hard work. If anybody ever comes to you and tells you that, get into network marketing, sign up, and the checks just start coming, they are lying. I'm telling you right now. It's was some of the hardest work I did for a couple of years. But the beautiful part is if you'll get it built and you take care of everybody, that residual keeps coming and you can just build on it and it's phenomenal. But you are going to have to put in some work. Now,
Definitely.
it's not a job. You're not checking in at 8 and getting off at 5 and all that, but you got to fit it in the nooks and crannies of a busy life. And that's where it really takes some effort on your part, is fitting those calls in, fitting those meetings in, fitting those Zooms in, fitting that stuff in. But if you'll do it, I really believe you'll be happy.
I
So,
mean, the business is so much easier now, or I guess connecting with people is so much easier now, is what I mean to say, than when you started, when it was, put your new prospect in the car and let's go meet with every single person at Starbucks. Now you have Zooms and other things you can do to get in front of people. But I mean, you were putting miles on it when you first got into the business.
well, back then Zoom wasn't even an option, so you had to meet people belly to belly, eyeball to eyeball, to get them to take a look. And it is definitely a little bit easier now. But I'll say this: there's still a place you've got to get with people. Relationship is such a huge part of this business. So, can we do a lot of it on Zoom? Yeah, sure, absolutely. But I believe you've got to go to the people, get to know them, develop that relationship, have a meeting occasionally, and develop that camaraderie, that teamwork, because that is so key. Well, all right, let's move from mindset now to skills. I've got 7 skills here, and I think these are the 7 that just about anybody that's been in networking will tell you these are the 7. Um, I'll read them off to you, and then we'll take them one by one and talk about them. Number one is prospecting. In other words, you've got to find the people to talk to. So we're going to talk about prospecting. And if you looked at our podcast our last podcast, we went over this one pretty heavy. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that one. Number two is inviting. When I first got in, I just assumed everybody would want to look. I didn't think everybody would want to do it, but I thought everybody would want to look. But you'll figure out real quick, you got to get good at inviting. That's a key skill in our business. You got to be able to present. And then number 4 is follow up. You've probably heard this if you've been around a while. The fortune is in the follow up. Then you got to learn to close. I mean, I don't twist arms and push people to get in, but you do have to ask if they want to join you or not. And then training or getting them going. I mean, that's a big deal. Your new people, you got to train them, get them going. And then number 7 is promoting events, because you build, I believe, network marketing from a big event to big event. You got to get your team to those big events. I think that's where everybody makes their decisions. But all right, let's go back up. We'll go take these one at a time. Spend just a minute or two on each of them. We talked about this last time, but Jordo, hit just a little bit on what we went over on our last podcast.
I kind of think we went A to Z, and obviously, you can check out. I think it's episode 3. that you can check out and go through it. But I mean, we went from how to start to how to finish. I mean, there's nothing in there that we left out on how to prospect, where to find new, new prospects, whether it's social media, wherever it was, social clubs, social events, new hobbies. I mean, we really went step by step on how to prospect.
I'll just throw this out there in case you didn't see the last one. Here's what I'm going to tell you. You want to put everyone you've ever known on a list. And I'm going to tell you, I don't have mine out here with us in the studio, but if you look at my desk in the house, I've got a yellow legal pad with names and stuff on it, guys, where I still have my list. I don't think you can say I got my list in my head or I got my list in my phone, because so many times you'll call up and I'll say, "Hey, Jordan, hey, I got something I want to run by you, brother. I think I found a way we can make some good money." And he's going to say, "Well, listen, I'm tied up now. Call me in a week and a half. I'll be back from vacation." Well, you got to have something you can write, call back in 10 days or something. I mean, I think a list is key, but right there, if I could say one thing, a fortune right there, because we all have a bunch of contacts in our phone.
Yeah.
And if you will go through that and don't prejudge, don't try to make the decision for the people.
Yeah.
Just write their name down, let them look at it, let them make the decision. Because even if they don't want to do it, guys, get this: they might can refer somebody to you. So prospecting is huge. You need a huge list. Then number two, it's inviting. The line that I have used forever when I'm just throwing one line out there, I'll say, "Hey, Jordan, do you look at other ways to make money?" "Oh, you do? Hey, I've got something I want to run by you." I mean, my line is just, "Do you look at other ways to make money?" I do that with salespeople. I do that with waiters and waitresses. If I'm going into a restaurant and the waiter or waitress has a good personality, I'll talk to them, try to get to know them a little bit while they're waiting the table. And then I'll usually say something like, "You have done a great job. My company's looking to expand. Do you look at other ways to make money?" And most of the time, they'll say, "Sure."
Yeah.
And when they do that, guys, I go, "I got something I'd like to run by you. Here's my card." And then I'll say, "What's your number?" And I will put their number in my phone. Because, guys, get this. I see a lot of people that'll hand out a bunch of cards, but they won't ever get a phone number.
Yeah.
Even when people are interested, they get home, they throw your card on the counter, their spouse comes in and moves it, and now it's under a book and you don't see it anymore. Even people that are interested a lot of times need that phone call. But it's just give them a compliment and then say, "Hey, do you look at other ways to make money?"
Yep, and you're always just pushing for them to take a look. You're not trying to sell them on anything. Just take a look. And like you said, which is a point down the road, but it's all you got to follow up.
That's it. It's for me, it's sorting. I'm not trying to convince you of anything. I'm not trying to convince the waiter, the waitress, my best friend, anybody of anything. I'm just going, "Hey, here's what I got. Do you want to join me or not?" And that's kind of how I look at it. And that takes the pressure off of us.
Yeah.
If I'm trying to convince you of something, then it's kind of a win or a lose deal. I either accomplished my mission or I didn't. If I'm just sorting, then I want you to join. But if you don't, no big deal. Hey,
Yeah.
great. You got anybody you can refer to me? So I think inviting is key. Now, I'll give you one more. And this is like if you're on the phone. You've made your list. These are people that know you right now. And you call up and you just simply go, "Hey, Jordan, how's the fam? Everybody good?" "Well, listen, great. Hey, this is really a business call, brother. I just got a quick question for you. Do you look at other ways to make money?" "You do? Hey, I got something I want to run by you." Guys, I started off, I'll take 30 seconds and don't go more than 30 seconds of, "Hey, how you doing? How's the family? How's the dog?" But then you want to turn it to business real quick. "Hey, this is really a business call, Jordan. I think we need to say that line. This is a business call. Got a quick question for you. Do you look at other ways to make money?" And I think that is huge.
Definitely.
Uh, the other thing that I will say is talk to everybody, guys. I'll give this one example here, and then we'll move to number three because time's passing quickly. But uh, Jordan's sister, my daughter, was buying a car. I went with her, obviously, to be the good dad and negotiate. She ended up buying the car, and the sales guy at the end had been a real nice guy. And I just looked at him and I said, "Hey, Mark, do you look at other ways to make money?" I really do use that line, guys. And he said, "Yeah, Yeah, I do. And I said, have you had lunch? He said, no. And I said, there's a Jason's Deli right down the street. Let's run down there. I'll buy you a sandwich. So I bought the guy a sandwich, showed him a presentation, showed him an overview of our company, and he gets in. And I mean, this is the craziest thing. But uh, Mark Dean has ended up being one full fledged stud.
Yep.
He has built an organization that is massive, that is about 100,000 business partners, and that leg has made me a whole lot of money. And guys, get this. Here's what's kind of scary. I look back that day and I was tired. We'd negotiated the deal. You know how kind of draining that is, negotiating over a car. I almost didn't say something. Well, guys, use that as a lesson. When you're walking by somebody or you have a chance to talk to somebody, always think, am I walking past a fortune?
Yep.
Because that could have been the case for me. And thank the Lord I said something. And my gosh, thank the Lord for Mark Dean. But just letting you know that you got to open your mouth and say something to people. You got to invite. You got to say, hey, I got something for you. And I'll say this: it's hard to say the wrong thing to the right person, and it's hard to say the right thing to the wrong person. I mean, either they're looking or they're not.
Yep.
Say something. I think that is a big key.
100%. And there's so many Mark and flow stories that I wish we had time to get into, but that's
Well,
for another day.
yeah, you keep watching. We'll get into some of those stories, and there's some good ones there, guys. And then presenting. Okay, presenting. Let's talk about. So you want to show about your company. You want to show your overview. So you've written down your list. You've started inviting people. Do you look at other ways to make money? You got some people that are looking now. How do I show them? Well, number one, I'm guessing that your company has some Zooms going on that you can plug into. I'm guessing probably your upline has some Zooms or something going on you can plug into, maybe a local meeting. Uh, but I'll say this: you need to get where you can show a presentation. With our company, what I did, our presentation is online. I printed it off, put it in a little notebook, and I'm old school. I'll just sit down with somebody and I'll flip through this notebook and just give them an overview. Understand, this is the first time they've looked at it.
Yep.
Don't go into details. I'm telling you, after you've seen a presentation 2 or 3 times, you can flip through one and just give them some highlights. But you can also do it on your computer. My gosh, that would be more your style. I
Yep.
mean, I'm old school, Jordan's new school, but you can click through a presentation on the computer, download it and just click through it. There's always videos that the company puts out that you could just sit there and show them a video with one of the top leaders in your company showing a presentation. My gosh, you can invite people over to the house and do a home meeting. You can meet them at a coffee shop. You can, get with your upline, somebody that's more experienced in the business, and y'all meet at a Starbucks. There's so many ways to show people the presentation. But I'll say this: if you're only fishing when I'm baiting your hook, you're not fishing a whole lot.
No.
So you've got to get early on, obviously, let some upline leadership help you or use the company material or something, but be working on getting where you can do it, because you're going to figure out this is not brain surgery.
No.
Networking is pretty much common sense. Just learn a few numbers, a few things to say. You got to get where you can do your own. In other words, you got to be able to bait your own hook where you can fish when you don't have a leader around with you. But early on, depend on those leaders. Let them help you. But, I always tell folks, I think my buddy Randy Hedge came up with this one, but he says, sure, you tie your 2-year-old shoes. Absolutely. But if you're still tying those shoes when that kid's 14, you're not doing them any favors.
Yeah.
So you've eventually got to get out of the nest. You've eventually got to be able to do it on your own. Sure, your upline's going to be there to help you. And when you sign up somebody, be there to help them. But your whole goal is to get them where they can do it without you.
Yeah.
But again, there's one-on-one meetings, 2-on-1 meetings, coffee shop meetings, home meetings. There's local meetings. There's big events you can get people to. There's Zooms. There's a multitude of ways to get the presentation in front of people.
Yeah, I think the beautiful part of this business is your upline is there to help you. They benefit when you're doing well. So you're not annoying them. They want to be there to help you, because if you succeed, then they're going to succeed as well. And the other thing is, most business plans aren't too complicated. They don't change very often. So once, watch somebody who's one of the top guys in the company, how they present and how they do things, so you can learn, take some of the stuff they're doing, and then use it. because it's not changing. Once you figure out what your pitch is and how you're going to do it, it's going to be very consistent every single time. So it's very easy once you get it down to perfect it. And I would definitely perfect it, be the best at it, because that's how you're going to close people and get them to join the team.
No, absolutely. My gosh, when I started, I didn't give good presentations, but you do it a while, and kind of like, if you do something, what they say, 10,000 times,
Yeah.
it just becomes second nature. Well, after you do it a while, you get where you can do it. Jordan's heard me do many presentations, and he could probably do them verbatim because I say the exact same thing every time. I mean, it's not like you're having to come up with a new script. Just come up with something, give a few words about yourself, how this has impacted your life, and then go into the presentation. Just flip through the pages. You're looking at them, so you don't even have to have it memorized,
Yeah.
but you can do it. Now, I'm going to transition to our next one, and it's the follow up. And you heard me say a while ago, the fortune is in the follow up, and that is a true statement. Very few people, some will, but not a lot, when you show them that initial presentation, say, I'm in, sign me up. You may get 10, 20% that do that, but that means there's 80, 90% that don't do that.
Yeah.
So understand, we're going to show the presentation, and we hope they sign up right then, but you've got to be willing to follow up, because here's what you're going to get a lot of times. I'll show a presentation and somebody will sit back and they'll go, that looks pretty good, but I need to talk to my spouse. Guys, this is worth you watching this whole podcast. Get this. If somebody says, hey, that looks pretty good, I need to talk to my spouse, I'll always go, great. That's a wonderful idea. You talk to your spouse. I'll call you tomorrow and you let me know what you've decided. Did you hear that? Somebody may say, listen, that looks pretty good, but, I really need to pray about it. I pray over all business decisions. Great, Jordan. That is what you should do. We should pray over everything. Listen, you pray about it. I'll call you tomorrow and you let me know what you've decided.
Yeah.
I need to do a little due diligence. Great, Jordan. You do some due diligence. I'll call you tomorrow and you let me know what you've decided. I don't care what they say, guys. I need to go dig a hole and throw some water in it and see if it grows. It makes me no difference. I'll say the same thing. That's great. You dig a hole. I'll call you tomorrow and you let me know what you've decided. Whatever they say, it's I'll call you tomorrow. You let me know what you've decided. I want them to just say yes or no. Yeses are what we're after.
Yeah.
No's are even okay. That just gets them off the list. I'll see if they'll be my customer and I'll move on. Maybes are the one that kill you.
Yeah.
Because if you don't watch out, 3 weeks later, that person's still telling you maybe. So, guys, no matter what they say, if they want to think about it, pray about it, talk about it, whatever, great. You do that. Good idea. I'll call you tomorrow and you let me know what you've decided. Now, if I call them the next day and they say, well, I'm still thinking about it, here's my line. Listen, and this is the truth. I try to work with 3 people at a time. I just need to know if you're going to be one of them. Are you in or you out? I mean, I push people a little bit to tell me yes or no. I don't push them to say yes. If they don't do it, I don't want them. But you got to get a decision out of people, or you'll have 25 people just kind of in limbo out there, and you don't know if you got them or don't have them or whatever. So, again, show them that presentation, and then the follow up is going to be key, and that's going to be by just saying, hey, that's great. You do that. I'll call you tomorrow. You let me know what you've decided. You call them that next day. If they still hadn't made a decision, listen, Jordan, I work with 3 people at a time. I just simply need to know if you're one of them.
Yeah. It's all about the follow up and like you were saying earlier, make a list, write it down, whether you need to get, we don't think like employees, we think like entrepreneurs. What we're doing is getting a CRM set up where we can put everything in there and it's telling us, hey, this is who you said you're going to call today. It lines out your day. You never forget anything because everything's always in the system. And whatever your system is, you just got to have a system. So, we're doing one thing. That doesn't mean you have to do it. You can write it down, whatever you need, but have a system, stick to your system and follow up.
Amen. Well, all right, we need to move quicker because, my gosh, we were wondering if we had enough material, and we're taking up plenty of time here. All right, closing. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on closing, but I'm going to say this. It's very important. And here's something that I've seen so many times. I'll, from a distance, be watching, and somebody will be showing a presentation. They'll show the presentation, and then at the end, they'll just go, well, listen, thanks for coming, Jordan. I appreciate you taking a look. And I'm sitting there in a distance going, are you going to ask them if they're going to join your team or not? I mean, guys, here's a big key to our business. You got to ask for the sale. I mean, you got to ask for it. Now, if they don't want to do it, great, no problem. But you've got to ask for it. And I think some people, they just hate confrontation so much that they just think I'll pass out if they tell me no. But you've got to show the presentation, and then if you want to ease into it, you can say, well, what did you like about that, Jordan? Ask them what they liked. Don't ask them what they think. Don't. What did you like about our company? And get them to say something about that, and then go, well, listen, brother, I know you're wanting to make some money because your kids are going to college. Let's get you going.
Yeah.
And understand this, guys. If I say, let's get you going, or what name do you want on the checks, or if I put some kind of little close in there, if they don't want to do it, they're going to tell me. So don't worry about that. Just, hey, I know that your kids need braces, and you said you was looking at this as a way to get those braces for your kids. Man, let's get you rocking. I'll help you. I mean, say something to see what they're going to do, and then just always assume they're joining you.
Yeah.
And if they don't want to, that's fine. And again, that's when they could say, well, listen, I really need to talk to my spouse. Great. You talk to your spouse. I'll call you tomorrow and you let me know what you've decided. And you go, all that is just a lot of repetition when you're talking to, yeah, I say the same thing.
Yeah.
You don't have to learn 100 different scripts, guys. I mean, just do what we're talking about. You prospect, you invite, you present, you follow up, and then you close a little bit. And if they get in, then you go to our next point, and that is training. But to end up closing, guys, I don't care how you do it, whatever's comfortable to you. With me, I'll usually look at Jordan after I've shown a presentation and say, what do you like about our business? Well, great. Hey, I know you're wanting to make some money. Let's get you going. And just see what they say, guys. I mean, just see what they say. Next is getting them going. I think this is number 6. So we had prospecting 1, inviting 2, presenting 3, follow up 4, closing 5. This is number 6. There's only one more. But training is a key. I think what we need to do is once we get somebody in the business, we need to spend 20, 30 minutes just giving them the nuts and bolts basics, not an in-depth training of how every aspect of the compensation plan works. I think we need to get them making a list. I think we need to teach them how to invite, and we just need to get them moving because they'll learn everything else as they get going. But we've got to be there to help them. And again, this is like a 2-year-old. We got to help them tie their shoes. We got to let them know, hey, if you need me to, I'll jump on the phone with you. I mean, whatever it is, but we've got to get them making a list. We've got to get them inviting. And then at this point in time, they're new. I'm going to do it for them. Yeah. I'm going to do the presenting for them. All they got to do is make a list and me teach them to invite. And we start working that angle. I'll start presenting for them. If that prospect doesn't want to be a business partner with them, I'll see if I can get them as a customer so they start getting some customers. And it's just a simple training in the beginning. But let me throw this in there real quick, Jordan. You heard me talk about Mark Dean a while ago. When I signed Mark Dean up, that was a Friday. I said, what are you doing in the morning? Do you have some time? And he said, yeah. I said, meet me at Starbucks at Garland Road in George Bush. So I met Mark Dean there. I bought him a coffee, and I said, let's go get in the car. We got in the car, guys, and I looked at Mark Dean, and I said, okay, who can we go talk to? Now, Mark Dean has never networked. His eyes got as big as saucers, and he's going, what do you mean? And I said, you know how I showed you the presentation yesterday? He goes, yeah. I said, who can we go show it to? And I mean, he sat there for the longest. And finally goes, I got a sister. I said, call your sister, see if we can go show her. And then we went and showed her. She didn't get in. I said, we got back in the car. I said, who else do you know? I got another sister. I said, call your other sister. We showed her. She didn't get in. I said, who else? He goes, my partner in the car business is Mark Flores. I said, call Mark Flores. We went and showed Flo. Flo got in. I said, Flo, you got a couple hours? He said, yeah. I said, okay, let's go get in the car. Dino, you get in the back. Flo, you get in the front. Flo, who can we go show this to? Guys, you've got to take an active role when you get a new person in helping them do this. You've got to be responsible for their success for the first couple of weeks.
Yeah.
It is that simple because they don't know what the frick they're doing. It would be like sticking a newborn in the kitchen and saying, whip you up a meal.
Yeah.
I mean, they can't do it. So I think getting them off to that quick start, showing them how to do the business as well as telling them is so key, Jordan.
Definitely. And whatever company you're with, they have trainings. They do these things weekly because they want to educate whoever's getting into the business on exactly what they need to know. So it's great to jump on the trainings, educate yourself, perfect what you're doing, know everything about it. It takes some effort and hard work to learn it. But at the same time, like he was saying, your upline, whoever's getting you into the business, should be helping you present starting out and learn what they're doing, see what works for them. And then as you keep doing this, you're going to learn what you need to do, learn what you say, and then you're going to be able to go out on your own and have a perfected pitch to get people to join the team.
And I'll throw this out there. Let's say you're the person that gets you involved just signed up 2 days ago. Guys, they may not know what they're doing either, but I promise you, there's somebody above them, maybe right above them or two or three above them, but there's somebody up there. And in our profession, what makes this so exciting is that everybody in that organization benefits if you're successful.
Yeah.
So understand, don't hesitate to figure out who's above your sponsor and get them to help you. Ask them for a little help because they're sitting around wanting to help somebody, guys. I promise you.
Yeah. And I've watched you do presentations for, how many levels down. You're so eager to help people. Even, you've done plenty for people that aren't even on your team, just trying to help them out.
I'll throw that in there. I have never asked somebody if they're on my team or not because I believe that if I can help somebody at a meeting or whatever, I should because what goes around comes around, guys. Just help people. I think that's phenomenal. And by the way, this morning I did a Zoom for a lady that's on my 47th level. 47th
That's
level.
awesome.
Lupita was doing a meeting and she texted to see if I could get on. So I did.
That's
But
awesome.
47 levels down. All right, our last one. Promoting events, Jordan. You know, promoting events is huge. In network marketing, you build from big event to big event. I can tell you, the first big event I went to was at the Anatole Hotel here in Dallas. We were in the ballroom. There's about 3,500 people in there. I can, to this day, I can get you within about 5 feet of where I was sitting.
Yeah.
Because it was that impactful to me. I'm watching all those people walking across the stage, making money, getting promoted, doing all this stuff. And I remember sitting there thinking, I don't want to be out here. I want to be up there. I want to be one of those getting recognized. And I can't emphasize enough the importance of you and your team getting to the big event because it shows them such a big picture of what they've got their hands on that they'll start realizing, hey, this isn't just my neighbor and me sitting at a kitchen table. My gosh, there's thousands of people here and there's hundreds of thousands across the country. And I mean, it just paints the picture that they understand how big it is. And I believe all leaders are born at a big event. I believe that's where a leader really steps up and says, I want to be a leader. I want to be up on that stage.
They can see it. They can feel the momentum. There's so much excitement at the big events that when if you get your team there, everybody feels it. And then it really just springboards your team moving forward.
I call it the 10X factor. If you have 10 people at the meeting, at the big event,
Yeah.
then I believe in the next 2 or 3 months that 10 will turn into 100.
Yeah.
If you got 100, I believe it'll turn into 1,000. I believe there's a 10x factor on average that when you get people to the meetings, their belief goes up. And guys, this business is all about belief.
Yeah.
If your belief is high, you're rocking. If your belief is low, you're not. And the big events, guys, they'll shoot our belief through the roof. I say you walk into big events, but you float out.
Yeah.
And I think that is such a key. Let's recap one last time. We had mindset. The buck stops here. Number 2 was think like I'm an entrepreneur, not an employee. Number 3, passion and focus. That is key, guys. Number 4, hard work. And then we got the skills. Number 1 was prospecting. Number 2 was inviting. Number 3 is presenting. Number 4 is follow up. Number 5 is closing. Number 6 is training. Number 7 is promoting events. Now, we've also got one more section called game planning. We don't have time for that today, guys. We have kind of gone over, but we'll come back and catch that one on another episode, because we really need to dive into that, and it's going to take us too long to do that right now. So maybe next time we'll do the game planning.
Definitely. No, I think this was a very powerful message today. So many good points. It's bullet pointed, really giving people, hey, here are the steps on how you get this thing going.
Nearly in network marketing, you're talking max a few $100s. I don't think there's anything better out there for a smaller investment to give average, ordinary people a chance to change their lives. But you got to dive in. I think my biggest points today were when I said it takes passion and focus. It's not so much what you say, but it's how you say it, guys.
Yeah.
And if you'll get passion, good things are going to happen.
Definitely. Well, we thank everybody for stopping by today. Don't forget to give us a like if you're watching on YouTube. Give us a follow, subscribe to us. We're, like we've talked about multiple times, every Friday these are going to be dropping. It's such a wealth of knowledge that we're getting to present to everybody. So, show us some love, subscribe, follow, keep up with what we're doing.
Well, God bless, guys. We love you. We look forward to seeing you next Friday.
Yeah. Thank you.